Gotta loves little Alanis Morissette. I know everybody said when she came out in the mid '90s that it was just angry um, female rocker, but it was a breath of fresh air at the time. And I'll be the first person to admit I was an Alanis fan. I hated a couple of her songs on the album, but not all of them. And that one actually isn't on Jagged Little Pill. That was from one of her second album. But she's done some really good stuff since then. So, hey, why not? This is Dylan Knows, episode 347. Plus, I needed a song to begin the show off. This is episode 347, Dylan Knows, Murder Hornets, which is the newest craze out there now. Not craze, but the newest fear out there now. And we'll be discussing the Murder Hornets a little later in the broadcast. Now, I'm sorry, I must have insulted the one person who was watching the show. I apologize if you're not an Alanis fan, but I am, and that's it. But yeah, so today's episode, we're going to be discussing a lot of stuff, continuing our coverage while we're in quarantine of the COVID-19 aspects and stuff like that. We'll be talking about the stuff that could have happened this weekend if it was a normal world. We'll talk about some new food items, some movie stuff, aliens all over the place in the news, death, some more myths about COVID-19, new pops, jigsaw puzzles. Let's see what else we got. Anything else? Some history, murder hornets, a new trend on YouTube, naked women, dogs, not wearing pants, and a whole bunch of that stuff. More movie dates moving, and more animal stuff. So a lot of new food stuff too, so that's good. So we're going to strap in here and have a, a good day. So here we are. This is day 40 of my personal quarantine. I was laid off 40 days ago, and it was a bad week this week, kind of. It was a good week when I got to see my mom. My mom's birthday was this week on Thursday. We got to do a porch meeting on Friday because Thursday was raining and wind, and it was a big mess. We didn't get a chance to get over there. But when I thought I had everything under control with my unemployment, a new curveball gets thrown in. They changed up the whole unemployment system here in Maryland, and then I was rejected for my claim. Been trying to call to rectify it for the last 2 days, have not been able to get in. And then I saw something that said that they are aware of that it was an issue that happened to a lot of people and that they're going to rectify it. So I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm sort of a nervous wreck right now. Plus I have to claim for this week's stuff, and hopefully they'll let me do it despite the fact that they rejected my last claim. So all that kind of stuff going on. We had people working on our water this week, and there was a day early on, Tuesday-ish, where the water was tasted awful and chemically and stuff like that. So that was kind of a bummer. What else was bad stuff that was going on this week? Oh yeah, my internet went out. I believe it was on that Thursday, actually. I thought it was due to the rain and stuff like that, but Verizon was like, no, there's no outages in your area. Discovered that there's a box in the other room over there that controls all this stuff, and it must have tripped a circuit somewhere, somehow. I don't know exactly how. Surge, something rolled through there, and it knocked out the internet. It took me 2 hours to discover this. So I have one of those plugs where you press the little, if it popped out, you just press it back in and it restarted it. And I knew there was something going on because my freezer that's down here, it's actually not on now, but it should still be freezing because and my internet's still good. So it's all plugged using all the same plug and stuff like that. It wasn't on, and then it came on when I flipped the switch. So I don't know if it was defrosting or whatever. I don't know. So just a rough end to April, I guess. As I said, good stuff. Went to see my mom on Monday. On Friday. for a porch visit. That was nice. Um, my daughter was able to get to see a live chat with three voices of voice actresses from her favorite, one of her favorite animes, My Hero Academia. So thanks GalaxyCon for setting that all up. So she spent an hour listening to them doing a live chat with. When I left, it was 160 people. When I left to go shopping, I wanted to make sure it was all set up for her. And when I was watching a little bit of it, I saw there was at least 160 people involved. So probably more as I went out. Went out and got groceries and stuff today that we needed. Got my son a Fortnite gift card because he was afraid that some of his favorite emotes were going to be going away, so he wanted to get them. So he's going to have to do chores for us now, so he's going to be doing that. So I guess all in all, an okay week. Next week starts an interesting week for my son. The school system, even though we are still technically supposed to reopen on the 17th of May, no, I'm sorry, the 18th of May, a lot of educators are believing that the governor will be changing that up and will be canceling school for the rest of the year because lots of other states around us have already done that. But we're still hopeful. So we still got a couple weeks to go to see if that's true. But they want to just prep it just in case that's going to happen. So starting on Monday, my son now has a meeting with his teacher every day from 2:15 to 2:50. And they will be doing schoolwork and learning, and then he's got his specials from 3 to like 3:30 or something like that. So he'll be doing his specials like that. So he's going to have to be doing work for about an hour and a half, something like that, online, like we're doing here, similar to that. My daughter only has Tuesdays where she has to do that. So that's interesting. Cinco de Mayo is coming up, as is my nephew's birthday on May 5th as well. And then Mother's Day is next Sunday. So we've got all that going for it too. The temperature, it's now May 2nd. Temperature starting to go up a little bit. It was like a nice day today. It was sunny, blue skies, some little puffy clouds in there. It was about 70 some degrees. Let's get some more rain tomorrow. So that'll be an issue. But that was my week. The Blue Angels flew over the area today. And my mom got a visit from my sister and brother-in-law, as did my dad. So that was nice of them too. So my worry is this whole unemployment thing. So I can't do anything about it till Monday. I'll keep trying to call in. There's some people I'm going to try to email probably tomorrow to do stuff and get things taken care of. And so all kinds of stuff going on in the air. So we'll see what happens. But we're in May. And we're in the second third of the year. So, I mean, technically, if you want to call it the quarter for the most part, quarter, it's like every 4 months or something like that. So we're in the new quarter now. And things are still pretty awful in the world right now. A lot of states are opening way ahead of time. They're opening the beaches ahead of time. Groups of people are gathering and not focusing on social distancing, which is going to cause this virus to continue for a very long time. There was an issue in Michigan where these people, armed people, came to storm the state house. Those people should have been arrested or thrown out. Or, at least, attacked like they were black people, but they weren't. They were white militia type people in Michigan, and they just allowed them to abuse the police officers and threaten the lives of many people, including the governor, because they wanted to open up. So that's annoying. The idiot in chief says that another way, he pulled out the you need to drink the bleach, inject bleach into yourself to stop the attack of COVID-19. He said that. This week he said you need to wash your hands with boiling water. Yeah, and get third-degree burns, you stupid moron. Oh, and here's some other things that he did as well. And I'm going to get my bashing out of the way so I can focus on the other good stories here. So the idiot in chief says he was speaking at West Point graduation, which is the Army. And West Point's like, nah, you weren't. We weren't going to do graduation because of this COVID-19 thing, but because for whatever reason, they don't want to, they end up appeasing the whiny little crybaby. West Point had to draw their 1,000 cadets who were graduating, have them come back from their quarantines all over the country. So they had to fly them all back. Then they had to be in quarantine for 14 days. And then they're going to go sit together outside and hear that idiot talk about how great he is. And that's going to be it. And all these Army guys are going to get COVID-19 because he's a freaking idiot. Another thing that the idiot did that I am actually proud of my governor for. My governor, Governor Hogan, is the head of the governor's group when they talk to the president and vice president about getting issues, stuff like that. He's Republican, and I've had my issues with him, but he's more in the moderate range. He's not right. He's a bit moderate. I've had my issues with him considering the whole schooling thing, which I discussed in previous episodes of the show. But when the idiot in chief told the states that they are on their own to get ventilators and stuff like that, and then when they do, the government swoops in and takes them, confiscates them, which is absolutely ridiculous. But my governor said that ain't going to happen to me. So his wife is from South Korea, excuse me. So they chatted up South Korea. She must be going for a walk. They chatted up South Korea, and South Korea got them a bunch of ventilators and tests for Maryland. And to make sure that the feds did not steal it, they snuck it into Maryland and have it in hiding under guard in the state of Maryland so that the federal government cannot take them over. So Maryland has their tests and stuff like that. So that's good. So I will applaud my governor for that and standing up to him. I finished the Arnold Schwarzenegger biography, and he was also a moderate Republican, and I kind of liked some of the stuff that he did in the California as governor in California. At the time, I wasn't a big fan of it because I didn't really know much of what was going on with him because this was back in the early 2000s, and I wasn't really paying attention to politics at that time. But reading what he did from his perspective made me believe he was similar to Governor Hogan and would have been a guy that I probably would have voted for. He also was a big believer in partisanship, which was great too. So I finished that book, and I got into my Tombstone book that Tom Clavin wrote, my new favorite writer. So I'm about halfway done that right now, and we're just getting to the gunfight, the OK Corral, so that's good. So I got all that out of the way. I am depressed also this weekend. Yesterday was supposed to be the kickoff for the summer movie 2020 summer movie season, with the first MCU movie since Spider-Man in July of last year. Black Widow was supposed to be out yesterday, and in a better world where this was not happening, I would have taken the day off from work. I would have gone to Chick-fil-A and gotten my chicken, egg, and cheese biscuits. And then I would have gone to see the first showing of Black Widow. Would have watched it, then may have gone to do some shopping or whatever and just hung out, stayed at home, waited for my kids to come home from school and hung out with them as well. Then today, Saturday, May 2nd, would have been Free Comic Book Day. So I would have gone to my comic book store, would have gotten with my kids and my wife, would have gotten some free comics, and hung out with some people. Possibly they might have gotten some creators to come in and get free hot dogs and stuff like that, because that's what they do. And life would have been great. But that's not going to happen. Black Widow has been pushed now to November. And hopefully, if I get rehired by my job or if I get a new job, whatever, don't know how it's going to work out, I will be able to take off that day now to go see that film and do what I was supposed to do yesterday and that day, November, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. And Free Comic Book Day is going to be rescheduled for later this year also. No idea when that's going to be. Personally, I think probably the best idea would probably do it around Labor Day. It would make sense to do it on a holiday weekend right before school starts. I think that'd be cool. End of summer sort of, hey, free comic book day type of thing, and just end it like that, because it's already going to be, everything's all screwed up with the movies and stuff like that. That, if you're trying to connect it to a superhero movie, the only one that we really can is Wonder Woman in 1984, and that's in August. And that would be okay, I guess. But I think doing it on a Labor Day weekend probably would be spectacular, because now that would give a chance for the comic stores to get back into a rhythm, um, because they've been shut down for so long. And I'll get to a story about that in a second. And that way it'd be this nice little holiday weekend, and added bonus, you've got a 3-day weekend. Hey, why not celebrate Free Comic Book Day as well? That's my personal opinion. Are they going to do it? Probably not, because they don't listen to me. So anyway, if they do it around Halloween, they always do one around Halloween anyway. That's cool, because that might be the weekend before Black Widow opens. So that might not be too bad. Or you do it the weekend Black Widow opens. You can do that as well. That's November, but I would prefer, I think it would be great to do it, at the last bastion of summer in around the weekend of Labor Day. I think it would be fantastic, but that's, again, just me. Let's see if I can find that story. So Diamond Comics, where I used to work, is the only distributor of comic books right now. They've shut down their warehouses because they didn't want anybody to get, sick with the COVID-19. And so they're not shipping any of the comics that have been shipped to them from DC and Marvel and the other independents. They are holding their shipments as well till all this gets worked out, because a lot of these comic book stores have to close because they are considered not essential. They really aren't, to be honest. Look, I love comic books, but they are not an essential service. It sucks for the people who own comic book stores that they have to deal with this, but it's better to stay alive than to deal with that. Geez, I can't see where any of my stuff is, but I know where the story is, so when I find it, I'll just check it off when we get there. Oh, there it is. Actually, it's right there. It's on this front page. So DC has already started getting... they've gone with a different distributor, and they're distributing comics on Tuesday. The first one was this past Tuesday, but my store didn't open, and I hadn't heard of anybody else who got the stuff in. It's possible they did, but I don't know if they did or not. But DC's the only one that's doing that. Marvel decided they were going to wait. Now, Marvel announced this week that they will start shipping comics on May 27th, which is at the end of this month. And the reason why, I think it's Memorial Day weekend, actually. And the reason why is, that would be the Tuesday after Memorial Day, right? 27 would be a Wednesday. 28, Thursday, 29. Yeah, I don't think Memorial Day is the 31st this year. When is Memorial Day this year? I would say it's probably the 24th. I don't think it's the 31st. Well, regardless, it's the 27th of May. And the reason why they say that is because Diamond announced that they're probably going to reopen their warehousing sometime in mid-May. So that would actually work out, because if they open up the warehouses in mid-May, then they can get all the product brought in from DC, Marvel, all the independent comic companies, get them to get their stuff resent back out. Then they can go back and get their system back in place, and without having to feel like, oh God, we got to get stuff out. So they get stuff together, they get things organized, they get themselves set. The comic book stores, if the stay-at-home things are still in place, they'll have to figure out a way around it. I'm sure they can figure out a way of doing it through online sales or whatever. There's things they could do, or maybe they'll just decide to reopen. It depends also. Maybe they'll reopen our state, near the end of May, so this can happen. So we'll see what happens. It's a whole bunch of balls in the air right now, but I think the point is, so you give them a couple of weeks, get Diamond a couple of weeks to get themselves oriented and organized, so they get the flow back going, get in contact with UPS and FedEx and all them, do stuff like that. So it makes sense to deliver it on May 27th. Now, here's the other thing also. I was looking at their schedule. They have the schedule all the way through July 3rd of what books are coming out when. They're doing a very interesting thing in June. So May 27th, they're going to release, I think it was 5 comics were going to be coming out that day. Then the first weekend of the first Wednesday in June, they're just going to release trade paperbacks, collections, and hardcovers and omnibuses, no comics. Then the weekend after that, the second week of June, they're going to release some more comics. And then the week of my birthday, they're going to just release trades and hardcovers and omnibuses again. And then again, they're going to just do comics at the end of June. And then I think July, they're going to combine them. To the first weekend of July, they're going to combine comics and the trades. So it's going to give them a month to get their stuff back organized as well. And I think that's a good way to do it. So we'll see what happens, and we'll hope that it works out for the best. Kristen Cavallari and Jay Cutler divorced. There's your gossip for the week. The Battle of Hogwarts was 22 years ago this morning. Actually, it's been over now for a while. For those who are Harry Potter fans, the Battle of Hogwarts was in the final Harry Potter book where Voldemort finally got defeated, but it took a while. The Battle of Hogwarts started at midnight, going from May 1st to May 2nd, and the battle went till morning, where Harry ended up facing off against Voldemort and defeating him then, and ending the terror of Voldemort and putting the magical world back into a golden age. So they did that. So it's the 22nd. It's the 22nd year anniversary of that, because it happened in 1998. May 1st was also Beltane, which is a Wiccan ceremony celebration, which basically declares that we're halfway through the year, which I guess it's halfway to fall or halfway to Halloween or something like that. But we're halfway to somewhere starting May 1st. We're not halfway in the year. That's going to be July 1st or 2nd. But it's a Wiccan holiday that sort of, it's the spring celebration and also the halfway point of maybe the Wiccan year, and the next one, halfway to fall. So fall's only half a year away. So hey, you gotta love that, because I love myself some fall. We also have the great Good Omens book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, came out 30 years ago this week. That's if you haven't read it yet or haven't watched the miniseries the BBC did for it that was released last year. It's about a demon and an angel who have been living on Earth for a really long time, and and they're sort of friends, and they've been enjoying their company with each other and enjoying the earth itself. When they get the word from both the devil and from God, it's time for the end of the world. The apocalypse is nigh, and the four motorcyclists of the apocalypse are showing up. Damien has shown up. The Antichrist is there, and the devil dog is there. And so the demon and the angel don't want the apocalypse to happen, because they love being on Earth and enjoying each other's company. So they decide to fight against it, and that's the story. It's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, read it. It was a good adaptation by the BBC as well, so that's good as well. Now, I talked to you about how Black Widow was supposed to come out yesterday. It was supposed to be a big opening weekend, would have been huge probably, and everyone was underestimating it. I think it would have done at least 100 million pretty easily. But we've got this whole movie drama thing going on. We've got some movie theaters opening in the South, which is ridiculous, but that's not the whole point. Now, what a lot of movie companies have been doing is they've been releasing the movies that were supposed to come out during this winter, spring window. They were going to release it straight to streaming or video on demand, so you could, buy it and they would get their money. Or also they were going to do movies that came out right before the whole quarantine lockdown happened, had a quick turnaround because they didn't get a chance to spread their wings for a couple weeks to make some money. So they were released early to digital so people could watch that as well. It's been fairly successful, particularly about the Trolls 2 movie, which I talked to you about a couple shows ago, which made a ton of money. I think I read somewhere that it made $90 million in the first week, the weekend it came out, just through streaming and buying it on video on demand. Well, Universal looked at this and goes, I kind of like what's happening with that. So they are releasing their Scooby-Doo movie direct to video without it going to movie theaters, hoping to have another big Troll 2 number. Disney has moved some of their movies to direct to Disney Plus. Not quite the same as what Universal's doing, but that's what it is. But then Universal decided, after they saw the money that they were making from video on demand and streaming a new movie, they're like, how can we make the most money? Let's just say when this whole COVID-19 thing is a memory or lesson, so that movie theaters have opened up, how about we release our movies in movie theaters like we were going to, but the same day release them on video on demand? And movie theaters are like, what? Because that is taking away money from them. Because, granted, the theater experience is the theater experience, but at the same time, we've gotten to that point now in our life, particularly during this quarantine, where people are a lot more comfortable just staying at their home, watching a movie at their own pace, having their own goodies that they can have, pausing it so they can go to the bathroom, or rewinding it if they need to so they don't miss anything, and watching it multiple times over and over again without having to leave the warmth of their house. And I get that, I do. But to release a film at the same time as it being out in movie theaters is a slap in the face to movie theater owners, because you could say, well, if you really, really wanted to see in the movie theater, you'd go to see the movie theater. No, humans are lazy sons of bitches. If they can see the same movie in a movie theater or at their house, and they pay about the same price for a ticket at their house that they would if they go to the movie theater, they got a deal, because A, they're not having to drive their car to the movie theater. So there's gas money for that. Some people you have to pay parking for. The concessions are hugely expensive, and I'll get to the reason why in a second. And then you buy a ticket for the movie theater, and then you get people who might be talking through the movie and stuff like that. Plus, if the virus is lessened, it's not gone entirely, so people are still going to be a little worried about going into theaters with multiple people as well. They're going to want to stay at home because, as I just mentioned, A, they don't have to go anywhere. B, they're paying the same price for the ticket, some cases maybe a little bit more, but that they're willing to do that so they don't have to leave their house, and their snacks are already right there. They've already paid for them as well. They don't have to pay extra money to get snacks, overpay extra money to get snacks. And you don't have to pay for parking because your car is right out front. You're not going anywhere. I get what they're thinking, but it's bad for the movie theaters, because with movie theaters is they make their money from concessions, because they make a little money from the box office, but the film distribution companies, the actors, the filmmakers, all that, they take the majority of the box office. So Avengers made, let's just say, $1 billion. Let's go to, let's say Black Widow makes $1 billion. Okay. The Disney probably gets about 80% of that. And then maybe about 10% of it maybe goes to the actors and stuff like that. They might have their contracts where they get some of the back end, whatever, or it goes to other things as well. The movie theater companies only get a very small portion. I don't remember. I think it's 5%, between 1% and 5% of the box office. So that's not a lot. The other movie, obviously, the distribution and the movie companies, they should get the majority of it, obviously, because they put the money forward to make the film. But the theater drew the people in to have them have the chance. They gave them a location to show the film so that they could make that money back. So I think they need a little bit bigger piece of the pie. But because they can't, they have to cover their employees and insurance and rent and stuff like that with the concession stands. Now, they do a pretty good job, but that's why you get a Coke for like $5, or a pretzel for $3, or candy for like $2, or popcorn for, $3.50, It's because that's how they make their money. So because of that, AMC, the movie company AMC, Regal, and I thought I saw Cinemark, but they might not, but at least Regal and AMC are saying, when all this happens, we're not going to show any Universal movies, which, that's like the James Bond movies, that's the Fast and Furious films and stuff like that. And they have every right to say no, because if you're just going to release it both on video on demand and in the movie theaters, why should they rent a movie because I think they have to pay to get the movie to their cinema to show it. Why should they put aside theater space for films that aren't going to get the audience because everybody's at home? They could use those theaters to show, like other films, give them extra, extra theaters that they can sit in. So that draws more people in, and you buy more concessions and they get more box office money. So why should we give money to Universal if they're just going to release it to video on demand the same day? And as I told you, what would you do? The Fast and Furious movie comes out. Are you really, and you have the choice of staying at home and watching it on your TV with your friends and talking and laughing and watching it and tweeting along with it, whatever, and just in the comfort of your own home without anything to worry about, pause it, rewind it, whatever you need to do when it comes on. Or, as I said, get in your car, drive to the movie theater, wait in line for the tickets, wait in line for the concessions, find a seat, watch the half hour of ads before it and trailers before it, and then deal with people who are going to be talking through it anyway. And then, if it's a late night version of it, if you're at home, you can just shut it off and go to bed. Or, if you're at the movie theater, you're going to have to leave the movie theater, get back in your car, drive home. So it's going to be another 10, 15 minutes back home. So I can see both sides of it because they can make good money on both ends, but I'm on the fence, and we'll see what happens when all this comes around. So that's going to be one of the storylines going to be playing out this fall. We'll see how things go and see if it's actually going to work. Animals, as I said, are making a big comeback. A huge school of salmon have been migrating in Australia, huger than they've ever seen. So that's massive news. That's going to be a nice swarm of salmon coming back up to our area in the fall. So the bears are going to be happy. Guy goes to Mexico to kill himself, spends the week doing blow and hookers, and decides to live. Why not? You spend the week not worrying about anything and doing lots of blow and lots of hookers. And hey, you look at yourself in the mirror and go, life's pretty damn good. Oh, yeah. On top of all the stuff that happened this week with COVID-19 and the idiot in charge and all that stuff going on, something got slipped through that is not getting as big of a response as people were expecting. The U.S. Navy released 3 videos of what they say are unidentified flying objects. We don't know what these things are. UFOs. Videos of UFOs saying they don't know what they are were basically posted this week by the U.S. Navy saying, we don't know what these are. They're unidentified flying objects. So they basically said that UFOs are real. The U.S. Navy has, after 4 years of saying that it's not. They're not saying that they're alien crafts, but that's the thing everybody's thinking about the most. So there have been some people who've looked through it and said, yeah, it's not as impressive as you think it is. They believe it's this, this, and this. That could be a whole cover of things as well, because the U.S. Navy is not going to cover it. Sure as hell someone else is going to. So you'll see later on the show that there have been other instances this week of UFOs that have been cited that have been blotted out, but we'll talk about this in a little bit. Georgia is just absolutely insane. As I said, they're opening up all their stuff, so they're going to be for a big surprise. They've already seen one of the biggest one-day jumps in COVID-19 cases in any place, but they honestly don't care as long as they go to a bar and go bowling. And in this case, they're coming up with something else where Georgia teens now no longer have to pass a driver's test to get a driver's license. They just need their parents' permission. And that has all kinds of bad on it because they haven't been taught how to drive, except maybe by their parents, but they haven't gotten a full schooling on it. And parents will gloss over a lot of stuff. So this is not going to end well for anybody, I don't think, personally. So we'll see what happens. Bees are all over the news. I'll talk about the murder hornets in a little bit, but bees also apparently appear to be dying due to a virus similar to COVID-19. So it seems like some sort of insect version of COVID-19 has infected our bee friends. And let's hope that doesn't wipe them out, because this country would be in bad shape if the bees disappear. Now, last week, North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un has been said to have been basically brain dead during a operation, and that he's also dead as well. But according to North Korean media, no, not so much, because they have video of Kim Jong Un, big smile on his face, looking fine, at an opening for a fertilizer factory. He had a big smile on his face, cutting the ribbon and walking with people and looking over the stuff. So he's been making appearances in North Korea. But I have to say, and this is my own conspiracy-minded thought, but the videos of Kim Jong-un opening the fertilizer factory doesn't look quite exactly like how we remember Kim Jong-un. Now, it could be, the cause of this operation made him look a little different. But this one picture, and it might have been an unflattering angle, but this one picture of him cutting the ribbon to this fertilizer factory really did not look like him. So now I'm wondering if maybe there is a lookalike similar to the movie Dave that's going in there while Kim Jong-un's sister has quietly taken over control of the government, but they're going to make everybody believe that Kim Jong-un is still alive, and the world at large to do it while she consolidates her power. I don't know. This one's to be continued as well. Last week, we had a meteor shower for April. This week, we have May's meteor shower. The Eta Aquariids meteor shower starts tonight and will not reach its peak until Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. However, there's a catch. The best view of the Eta Aquariid meteor shower will unfortunately be in the southern hemisphere, Australia, parts of South America, Africa, Antarctica, areas like that. Because I don't know if it's Aquarius or whatever the star, which is the main focal point for the meteors, is at best right on the southern horizon up here in the northern hemisphere. It's like just barely over. So you need to have a nice flat view of the south for you to see anything. If you don't, you're probably not going to see it. Now, as I said, Tuesday is going to be the main day for it, but it's just because of the way where the star is in the rotation of the Earth and where it is. This is going to be a better meteor shower for those in the southern hemisphere. Now, what's interesting about the Eta Aquariids is that they are asteroids from Halley's Comet. Now, for those who don't know what asteroids are, basically it's when comets go past or orbit on our solar system. They trail behind them, because they're made of ice and rock. And as they get closer to the sun, they start breaking apart. That's why you see the mist and the stuff coming off it when you get the tail for the comet. So while that's breaking down due to the heat of the sun, breaking down the ice and rock, bits and pieces of that are coming off of the tail, and then those, and they're very fine. They're not like big heavy rocks, and that stuff combines into one wave, and then it drifts. And then when planets get into those drifts, that's when you get those meteor showers. So that's how that works. But basically then what happens is after it orbits the sun, it goes back out where it's colder, and it starts to refreeze again. So it gets harder again and bigger again, and then it just does the whole thing over and over again for eternity until eventually it's just like, we're done. So the Eta Aquariids this week, give it a try if you have a nice view of the south. It's going to be, as I said, late in the evening again, early morning, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. is going to be the best time to see it before sunrise. Due south, and the very, very horizon of the south, you'll probably be able to see it a little bit better. So it's not going to be way up in the high sky. It's like, oh, this is great. No, you're going to be looking down where the horizon is. So unfortunately, that's the problem with that. No one wants a free haunted house after a Louisiana real estate agent trying to sell a haunted house for free, but there's a catch. They're trying to sell this haunted house for free. It supposedly has a ghostly backstory to it. The story I read didn't seem too malevolent. It seemed more benevolent, but no one wants to buy the house. So they decide, hey, we'll give it away to you. And he thought, okay, free house. But there's the catch. Besides it being haunted, the catch is the owners want you to move the house. They don't want you to move into the house. They want you to buy the house. They want you to tear it down, move it someplace else, and rebuild it someplace else so they can build up that land and new housing and new stuff like that. That's really the main reason why people don't want to buy this place, I think, because why would yes, it's a free house, but you're going to have to pay someone to tear it down. You have to pay someone to move it. You have to pay the land that you're going to move it onto, and you have to rebuild it. Those are all parts of the deal. So basically, you're going to put that much money that you would have bought on that house anyway in order to rebuild it. But I guess the plus side on that is you won't have to pay a mortgage because you already own all the junk. So that could be the only plus side. Plus, you get a benevolent old lady ghost, they say, is someone who just wanders around the house, stirs your food on the oven if you don't stir it, and just sometimes moves things around on the kitchen. So if you're willing to have a DIY project, there you go. It's Louisiana. Go for it. A group of nuns adopted an unwanted 9-year-old or unadopted, unwanted 9-year-old pit bull. I think that's great that they decided they needed some companionship, so they bought they got a unwanted pit bull, and they love it and take care of it. And he's a good dog. He's a good boy. New Pokemon clothes launched in Japan this week, and it caused social distancing to go out the window as everybody lined up to get the new stuff. This just goes to show you the insane love for Pokemon in Japan. I mean, it's brand new fashions with Pokemon characters on and stuff like that, but they were in line in their masks and stuff like that, but they weren't doing the 6-foot distancing thing, but they were huge lines to go into this department store to get this new clothing line. So they love themselves some Pokemon, don't they? That's pretty cool. Klondike bars. You know the Klondike bars are the ice cream bars that you love during the summer. Well, guess what? They've now created something called ice cream donuts. And they are releasing them this summer in 2 flavors. So you're going to have strawberry ice cream donuts and Boston cream flavored ice cream donuts. Could be interesting. It's a Klondike bar. Klondike bars are good. They have pretty good ice cream. I'm wondering what a Boston cream Klondike ice cream bar donut is going to be like, or a strawberry ice cream donut is going to be like. Might be interesting to take a look at, see that. Also, Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch has all kinds of variations as well. Well, they have a brand new one, which actually sounds pretty cool. It's called Blueberry Pancake Crunch. So it's Captain Crunch's new flavors out there now with blueberry flavored crunch berries, and also pancake flavored crunch berries as well, mixed in with the regular Captain Crunch cereal as well. So you get the full taste of the blueberry pancake crunch. I like blueberry. This actually sounds pretty good. So we shall see what happens about that. Smucker's Crustables. You know Crustables, they're the ones that do the frozen peanut butter and jelly thing. It's like a little square, breaded thing that's frozen, and you put it, I guess, in the microwave or whatever, and it heats it up, and then when you bite into it, it's peanut butter and jelly inside it. It seems like a round version of Hot Pockets. Well, they're going one step further now into the Hot Pocket world with a brand new series of Crustables. As I said, most people think of Crustables, they think of peanut butter and jelly. Well, now you're going to have to start thinking about taco bites, barbecue chicken bites, turkey and Colby Jack roll-up, and ham and cheddar roll-up. Those are the 4 new Smucker's Crustables. As I said, probably it's going to be a round version of Hot Pocket, probably. But those are the new flavors that they're starting with. So, is there room enough for 2 Hot Pocket type of things? Yeah, sure, probably. Let's get on with it. Could the new James Bond movie be moved to 2021? It's already been moved from March to November, right around Thanksgiving, which is actually when most James Bond movies have been coming out. But now they're afraid that they should probably move it to 2021. The main reason why being is this Universal story I told you about earlier, and also that this James Bond movie they said, costs upwards of around $250 million to make. So they need to make their money back quickly. They need to have big openings. So if they think that when November 2020 rolls around, and with all the movies being compressed into the last quarter of this year, big ones like the Black Widows and the what are some of the big ones? What are some of the other big ones that they moved? The Ryan Reynolds one and other, and then the fall movies themselves that are pretty big around there too. Moving all into the last quarter of 2020, are they starting to doubt that they're going to be able to get an audience, not only because of all the movies that are going to be out there, because of this universal issue, that has made its face felt, and are people still, even if COVID-19 has been gotten rid of, or there's a vaccine or whatever, and people are more interested in going out to movies, are people still going to take the chance to go out this year? Probably next year they will, once they see how the wind blows. But they still might be nervous if things are still kind of on a thin line. So we'll see. But they could move it to 2021, which is just going to make 2021 be absolutely just jam-packed with films. It could be, honestly, it could be one of the greatest years for films in history, only due to the fact that all these great movies are being compressed and moved, which all should have been spread out over a 2020-2021 period. But to have all these great films roll up week after week after week, is that going to cause issues for the box office, or is it going to be considered maybe one of the greatest film years in history? We're going to find out. So there's that going on. So as always, there's more movie dates shifting now because of this. They're looking at the wind and they're saying, because of this compression of new movies keep getting moved to our dates and stuff like that, are there going to be enough people who are going to come out every week to see these movies? Are they going to be willing to come out every week to see these movies because it's expensive? Or are they going to need to save money due to the crisis we're in now? Or are they still going to be scared about going to movie theaters? So movie companies are still hesitant about saying, hey, yeah, we're going to do this. So they're still moving stuff around. So we got a couple new ones this week. 2 right here. John Wick 4, which was originally going to go up against The Matrix 4, was going to come out in 2021, is now not due to go has been moved to May 27th, 2022. Obviously, also, a lot of it has to do with a lot of these films have not been made yet, and they don't know when Hollywood's going to open up. That's the other thing also. Don't know when Hollywood's going to be opened up and when these movies are all going to get made and get stuff like that, so they're moving these dates. So John Wick 4 has been moved to 2022. Spiral, the new reboot from Blumhouse of the Saw movies with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, which was supposed to come out this year, has been moved to May 21st, 2021. That was actually the date vacated by John Wick 4. So now the most part is Spiral's pretty much already done in the can, so they're just waiting for things to open up a little bit. Same with the James Bond movie. It's done in the can, but they need to just wait to see how things go. So those are this week's movies that have changed dates. Stray cat carries her sick kitten to a hospital, so people can help her. So she knows where the hospital is. She knows where the helpers are. She took her sick cat to the hospital, and they actually took care of the sick cat. So that was really cool. Will Ferrell crashes a Seattle Seahawks Zoom meeting pretending to be player Greg Olsen. That's kind of funny. Clowns, jugglers, gymnasts in a traveling circus are stuck in a Texas parking lot due to a shutdown. So they've been just sort of sitting there for the last 40 days, just chilling out. There is a Farrah Fawcett pop, her iconic poster everybody has with her sitting with her back arched in her face and stuff like that. Well, they made a pop of that, so that's kind of cool. Clear jigsaw puzzle. Looks like a jagged glass, so that's it's got sort of that glass clear sort of look to it, but you have to connect the dots like that, so that's kind of interesting. Holding your breath is not a self-check for COVID-19, so guess I don't have COVID-19. Who knows? A 5.4 earthquake hit Puerto Rico today. Hopefully everyone's okay and things are going to get better. Last weekend was the NFL draft, and a funny story out of draft day. The Packers decided they wanted to draft a certain player, so they called him up, and the player hung up on them accidentally. And then when he found out what he did, he absolutely freaked out because he wanted to go to the Green Bay Packers. Now, luckily, the Packers figured there was a mistake, and they called back again, and he answered that time, and he was drafted by the Packers. That's interesting. Now, speaking of that, the NFL, the story I was going to do later in the show, but I'll talk about it now. The NFL is going to reveal their new schedule next week. Which is a little later than usual, but because of the COVID-19 stuff, I'm not surprised. Usually they do it the week of the draft, but they're going to release it about a week or so later. I guess this upcoming week they're going to do it. But according to people who've seen it already, the NFL is fairly certain that they're going to do a complete season. Now, Major League Baseball is not. We already know that. They're hopefully aiming for July 4th as a startup date, but that's even in the wind. So we'll see. If they can get through May, and they're okay to go to training camp in June. I think if they do training camp for 4 weeks in June to just get the dust off and get them back up, I think July 4th is a reasonable date for them to start. Of course, now you got to figure out a whole bunch of other aspects as well. Are you going to be able to do it in stadiums, local stadiums? Are you going to want to have people travel to the East Coast and West Coast? Or another idea they've had is they're going to realign just for this year so that all the East Coast teams play each other, and that's the only teams they play. The Midwest teams only play the Midwest teams, and the West teams only play the West teams. They'll all be in one division. There'll be three leagues, and then they'll have the top, I don't know, you need even number 2, 4, 6, top 2. Or if you wanted to make it top 3, 6, 9, 12. No, 3, 6, 9. Maybe the top 4 teams in each division goes to the playoffs. Or if they decide to go to top 2, you got yourself your playoffs and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. But the NFL is hoping that they're going to have a full season. So the schedule they're going to be releasing next week is going to be the full 17-week football schedule, starting in September and ending in December. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if that actually comes to play. But right now, they're sitting there going, yeah, we're going to do it. And they want to make sure that they got the stuff now. If they have to make changes, obviously, they will. And we'll take care of that in a second. Real quick, it's right about the top of the hour. May as well do the list of the dead this week. Again, it keeps getting smaller, which is good. But there are a couple of kind of big names, 2 big ones at least. First up, actually 3 technically. First up, we have Valentina Blackhorse, who is a Navajo pageant winner, died at the age of 28 due to COVID-19. Sam Lloyd of Scrubs, and there was another show he was part of, but he's mostly known for Scrubs. He was in about 100 episodes of Scrubs. He died at the age of 56 by cancer. Mateo De Cosmo, the Punisher, the Netflix version of the Punisher and Luke Cage art director, died of COVID-19 at the age of 52. Maddie Simmons, who was the co-founder of National Lampoon and also was a producer for Animal House, died at the age of 93. So that was more of an old age sort of thing. Gene Dinovsky and Dmitry Dietkemko, who are both Russian actors who were in the video game Red Alert. They died this week. Both died within a couple days of each other. Tony Allen, an Afrobeat drummer, died at the age of 79. B.J. Hogg, a Game of Thrones actor, died. Irfan Khan was the second big one. Maddie Simmons was the first. Irfan Khan is the second big one this week. Who was it? And Sam Lloyd was the other one also. So Irfan Khan dies at the age of 53 due to colon cancer. Now, you might not think you know his name, but you remember him. He was the the businessman who created Jurassic Park in Jurassic World, not the original Jurassic Park. That was Sir Richard Attenborough. This one was in the Jurassic World, the new series. He was the guy that was able to take what Hammond did and turn it into actual reality. He was also in The Amazing Spider-Man, the one with, I always forget his name, not Tobey Maguire, Andrew something or other. He was in that also. He's also a Bollywood actor, did a bunch of Bollywood movies, but he also crossed over from them with movies such as Slumdog Millionaire, where he played the host of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show, and also was Life of Pi. He was the grown-up narrator of the Life of Pi story. So Irfan Khan, you've seen him before. You would recognize him. He passed away at the age of 53 due to colon cancer. John Lafia, Child's Play writer and director of Child's Play 2, died at the age of 63 due to suicide. Ashley Minnie Ross, star of Little Women Atlanta, which I guess is some sort of reality show, died at the age of 34 in a hit-and-run accident. And we're going to have another hit-and-run story in a second. And Ivan Badat, Irish poet, died at the age of 75 from a stroke. So those are the big names that passed away this week. Now, hit and runs are in the news this week. Not only is this Ashley Minnie Ross died in a hit and run, but Joey Pants, actor Joe Pantoliano, you've seen him in a million things, the Matrix movies, the Bad Boys movies, The Fugitive, all kinds of films. He was in The Sopranos, and a whole bunch of stuff. So Joey Pants, everybody knows Joey Pants. He's hospitalized after being hit by a car in a hit and run this week. So he's not dead, but he's in the hospital due to a hit and run. So that kind of sucks a little bit. Orange cream cheesecake is a thing. It tastes like a dreamsicle. I'd love to try a dreamsicle cheesecake. I think that'd be fantastic, but is now a thing. Allison Janney, pretty funny actress, forgot she was in the 1999 romantic comedy 10 Things I Hate About You, which is a shame because her role as the guidance counselor was hilarious. The only thing about it was she seemed to be an entirely different movie because she is top heavy in the film. She, at the beginning of the film, had multiple scenes at the beginning of the film and did not show up again for the rest of the film. So that's kind of interesting. But she forgot she was in 10 Things I Hate About You. And that's up there with Gwyneth Paltrow forgetting she was in the Spider-Man movie as well. So I guess, actors have a lot of stuff on their minds and their plates. I can understand that, I guess. But that's crazy. And in fact, it was funny because Allison Janney, when she saw herself in 10 Things I Hate About You, was like, what the hell was I doing? Because it's the cat. And she was a guidance counselor who wrote erotic fiction, which was really funny too. So Jeff Johns, who had a big run on Green Lantern and a big run on The Flash, and is now as a big wig in the DC Comics. He's coming back to Green Lantern, but this time he's going to be producing a Green Lantern TV series for the HBO Max, which starts on May 27th also, up there with when Marvel's releasing their comics as well. So that's interesting. So he'll be producing Green Lantern. Obviously, It's not going to come out probably till at the earliest late next year because they just started working on it. They've got to get the scripts done. They got to get showrunners. They got to hire the cast and the crew. They've got to film it. They've got to edit it, and then they've got to get in there. So, and with this COVID-19 stuff, we don't know when that's all going to get done. So I would say you're probably not going to see this at the earliest till late 2021. So, but it's still going to be coming. So that's good. Oh, she's watching a video. I was like, what the hell is she doing? So it sounds like someone's upset. Cop tries to shoot a dog for barking, ends up shooting himself. That's instant karma for you, as my son likes to say. 4.5 million blue flowers bloom in Japan Park. So again, it's not just animals that are taking over, coming back and spreading around a little bit more in the world. Plants are doing the same thing as well. So again, a plus. Oh, she's doing a FaceTime with her folks. Okay, so she sounds like she's upset, but I don't think she is. Oh, well, I'll find out later. Nope, she's not. Okay. Here's another thing. I said holding your breath is not a self-check for COVID-19. Well, a woman says that she's fighting off the COVID-19 virus by drinking sperm smoothies. That's something you only see usually in porn, but ew, maybe there's something to it. I don't think so, but ew. 114-year-old German dining hall was discovered underneath the Minnesota state capitol. Archaeology's cool, isn't it? Who would have expected a German dining hall in Minnesota, of all places? Maybe Viking, I understand, but not German. And a 114-year-old one, and you built your city hall on top of it. Didn't you find anything underneath it? Guess not. North Carolina determines that NASCAR is an essential and is preparing for a new race. I'm not sure I agree with that, but don't really have much I can do about that. Looking for a new movie to watch? Go to Amazon Prime and type in Bearcano versus Nazi Sharks. It's a real film. I haven't seen it yet, but it's one of those, seems like a B movie you'd see on the Sci-Fi Channel. So very interesting. Man was found camping out on Disney World's abandoned Disney Island Park and did not know that he was trespassing. That doesn't sound right either. The Walking Dead was called offensive and downright troubling by the FCC. Not much you can do about that. You can cancel it, but they're not really breaking any rules, are they? As long as they stick to what they're supposed to do, you really can't have a say on anything. So you can make your comments all you want, but oh well. Some local news, school sports have been canceled for the year. So high school sports in the Maryland area have been canceled for this year. So that's a shame. So no lacrosse, no baseball, softball, track, tennis, any other like outdoor spring sports, all gone. So time to start focusing on the fall, and hopefully things will get better for that. I guess that's one step maybe closer to shutting down the school year, but it makes sense because now we're in May. School is actually going to be out in about a month and a half. So there really is no reason to do a bunch of, because you'd have to get back. They haven't been practicing all season. They haven't been playing together. They don't know. And if they did all this stuff by the time they're ready to play games, it's going to be June, and you're only going to have 2 weeks. And it makes sense. With this news of the UFOs that may or may not be alien, there's a couple of alien stories here. One is bizarre ancient coins with alien faces engraved on them were discovered in Egypt recently. Granted, that's one person's perspective, but it's a very odd-looking face on these coins. Don't look like your typical, pharaohs or regular people. They look like the grays with the stuff like that, so that's kind of weird. Are camouflage aliens walking amongst us? Is that maybe why we haven't been able to see them? Whenever you see like a flutter or a shadow or something like that, could it be aliens who have been able to camouflage us? Are they walking amongst us, checking us out and studying us? Very possible. Leads some credence then to what Jose Canseco was saying when he was concerned that his alien friends were going to be getting sick. I did that story last week. Dogs were involved in a chat over the dogs in Ireland were involved in a chat over the internet. So now a lot of people have been keeping in contact with family members via Zoom and Google Meet, stuff like that. Well, a family in Ireland decided that they knew that their dog missed his dog friend, the neighbor probably a little bit down the lane or whatever. So they hooked up they got together and hooked up a Zoom meet or whatever for their two dogs. And it's a funny video with the dogs barking at each other. One's on the internet and one's out here. It's a very cute video and it's out there. So check it out. Irish dogs chatting. Baby tortoises, again, showing how the world is in a better place now that people are quarantined. Baby tortoises have been appearing on the Galapagos Island for the first time in 100 years. So that's a good sign of animals coming back. And now here's the big animal news story, which dropped late this afternoon and now has everybody talking about it. There's been multiple stories about it. And you thought that 2020 could not get any worse. Welcome to, and the basis of this episode, the murder hornets. Murder hornets have been discovered in Washington State and Canada. They are an Asian species of wasp that in Japan annually kills 50 people. Says their stings are one of the absolute worst pains that you can ever imagine. And they like to rip the heads off of bees. So again, the bees who already are suffering from a potential COVID-19 virus, as I said earlier in the show, now have to worry about these crazy murder hornets ripping off their heads. And there is precedent for this because beekeepers have noticed beehives totally destroyed and bees with their heads ripped off and these hornets in the area. One guy describes the murder hornet's sting as a red-hot thumbtack being pressed into your skin. The murder hornets are here. Watch out. Iowa gives gun permits to blind people. Yep, Snopes said, yeah, they do. Nothing against blind people, and they might be able to, but I would think if you want to handle a gun, you should probably be able to see. Same with driving. I'm sure they might be able to do it, but you wouldn't want to have a blind person driving. Just saying. Lindor candies are those chocolate balls that have liquid chocolate inside of it. They're delicious. They are yummy. They're in all kinds of different flavors. And Lindt, which is the company that makes it, has created a brand new flavor, which I am dying to try. It's the salted caramel Lindor. I want to find that and I want to devour that because the Lindors are actually really good. The Lindor caramels are good. The Lindor milk chocolate ones are good. The white chocolate ones are good. It is a usual gift that I give my wife, like Valentine's Day and Easter and Christmas and stuff like that. Lindor is very, very good. And now they're going to have salted caramel and I can't wait. I want to try that one. Michigan courts were Michigan courts threatened to demolish Amish houses unless they were upgraded. Yes, you cannot make this up. Michigan is a terrible place, and it's not the fault of the governor who's trying to save people, but with the fact we had these gun-toting morons go to the state capitol and threaten the lives of the governor, which should be a crime, but apparently isn't in the state of Michigan or in any of the Republican-controlled states. Now they were trying to threaten Amish houses that weren't upgraded, which is against their religion. Hopefully, I think that it's been taken care of, but damn. The U.S. astronaut is the first to play bagpipes in space. I know a lot of people hate bagpipes, but I'm a bagpipe guy. I love bagpipes. I love listening to them, and it's so awesome. I love it. So to be the first astronaut in space to play bagpipes, that's awesome. There's another bagpiping story, jazz bagpiping, which I'd never heard of before, and I saw a video of that, and it's actually kind of cool also. Those people who hate bagpipers might actually like that instead. Creepy unicorn candle cries waxy rainbow tears when lit. It's these creepy little unicorn candles that when you light them, there's little eyes in them. They dribble out this rainbow colored wax, and it is very disturbing. Don't know who would want to buy them anyway. Transformers animated prequel will be coming from the Toy Story 4 director. I think it's going to go directly to Netflix or something like that, but an animated prequel will be showing up. I'm assuming it's a prequel to the TV show, and probably will show the creation of Cybertron and the Transformers, stuff like that. But Toy Story 4 director will be making it, or maybe it could be released in theaters, who knows, but that's what's going on about that. Farting in front of your partner leads to stronger and more healthier relationship. I think I've detailed that before, but yeah, science is silly. So I guess it's okay. Farts are also in the news this week. Besides that, classic Japanese fart battles have been discovered in ancient drawings. These are from the 1800s. They were drawings of people who were apparently fighting each other by farting on each other. It's actual real pictures, not made up, not onion stuff. It's an actual thing, and it's out there on the interwebs as well. Eminem confronts a home intruder in his kitchen after his security detail falls asleep. You had one job, security detail. It's not to let psycho stalkers in like Stan to come in there and threaten the man. Eminem had to take into his own hands, take that shit into his own hands, and he whooped his ass. Hong Kong airports have introduced a full body disinfectant boxes and cleaning robots to keep up with keeping the COVID-19 stuff clean and stuff like that. And people who might have it, they have been creating these things to totally disinfect people coming off of airplanes. Oh, it makes sense. Dole has created new lemonade flavors for this summer that you can drink now in cans or in bottles. They are classic lemonade flavor, strawberry lemonade flavor, and tropical lemonade flavor. So go to your local grocery store this summer and look out for some of those. Belgians are ordered to eat French fries twice a week to combat potato surpluses. It's one way to combat surpluses that you have now due to the COVID-19 stuff. Let's eat French fries. Who doesn't love French fries, and particularly homemade ones? My kids made some homemade ones a couple weeks ago, and they absolutely loved it. Actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they loved it. It was last week. Yeah, last week was the Jamboree, so they made some last week that were delicious. So I'm all for that too. Not here in Maryland because we don't sell alcohol in our grocery stores, but the Aldi grocery store. The Aldi grocery stores are going to be selling margarita wine, which is basically margarita mix, but instead of being mixed with tequila for margaritas, it's being mixed with wine. It's a 13.9 alcohol level, and there's a bunch of flavors out in it, strawberry, margarita and stuff like that, but it's margarita mixed with wine, which is something that no one's ever thought of before, but sounds absolutely fascinating. So particularly those who might not like tequila all that much. Hercules and Tarzan live action remakes from Disney are in the works right now. Just remake all your cartoons into live action. Why not? They make money, so why not? This week, today was also supposed to be the Kentucky Derby, and in 2 weeks it was supposed to be the Preakness, but all that horse race has been pushed back to the fall as well. So in lieu of that, how about turtle racing? That's a new thing out now. People are putting money down on turtle racing. It's something that has been around for a while, but never really brought back into focus until recently. So there you go. The Cincinnati Bengals released their longtime quarterback, Andy Dalton, who went to many playoff games but never won one and had a pretty good career, but just wasn't getting it done. And now he's been released since the Bengals picked up Joe Burrow, the Heisman winner. I guess he was Heisman winner, but at least the national championship winner and the best quarterback in the draft. So he's going to be their new quarterback for a year. Mattel releases everyday hero action figures, doctors, nurses, fire people, EMT, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Last week it was earn $1,000 watching, I think, the Harry Potter movies. The week before that was earn $1,000 watching like Marvel movies or whatever. Well, now you can earn $1,000 watching Star Wars movies. I don't know where these people come from and where you can do this, but I'll keep bringing them up when they keep bringing stuff up like that as well. Yeah, here we go. A new trend also, which I find actually fascinating on YouTube now, and I might have talked about last week, but last week someone posted a video of all 9 Star Wars movies playing at the same time. It was like on a Zoom channel, and you had the top 3 there, and then the middle 3 prequel and the bottom 3 prequels, and they just start them all at the same time. You could see them all on your screen, and they were starting them all at the same time, so you could watch. They were edited so you could watch all the movies at the same time. Now, granted, they're about that big, but you can still see it. Now, Disney took it off, and you can't see that anymore, but it got people thinking. It's like, if they can do that with Star Wars, we can do that with other stuff. So this week alone, they released a video with the first 20 MCU movies. They had them in smaller boxes, 5 across, 4 rows of 5, and that leads to Ant-Man and the Wasp. So because Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home were released after these initial 20s, they were not on this picture, but you had all initial 20 MCU movies posted. That's still up on YouTube, so I occasionally go back there and watch that, but it's kind of cool. As I said, it's really small, and you can hear the sound, but you can pretty much tell which one is which, but you're seeing bits and pieces of every one of the movies. It's really kind of cool. So they did that. They did every Harry Potter movie. Obviously, why not? There's 7 of those, so they were able to spread it out a little bit more. They did every Jurassic Park movie, including the first 3 Jurassic Parks and then the next 2 Jurassic World ones. So you had 5 of those up there. Then they did 25 of the James Bond, every James Bond movie. So it was 5 rows of 5. So they had all the James Bond movies going at the same time. And then just before I came on the show, they have all the Transformers movies in that way as well. So it's a brand new thing going on right now. It's interesting. It's kind of fascinating. Let's see if I can. Hopefully, I won't get in trouble for this because it's like a copyright thing. But let me see if I can find just a quick. If they haven't taken it down yet. Sorry, ad. My God, that's so it looks something like that. So that's all your Avengers movies right there. That's all I'm going to do so I don't get in trouble for copyright, but that's what it looks like. So there's all those videos. So as you saw, all of them all together running at the same time. So I thought that was kind of cool, and that's a new trend going out there now. So I'm anxious to see what other ones they decide to do. It's pretty interesting. Mathematicians think that the universe may be conscious. I guess that's possible. I guess it wouldn't surprise me. And maybe you could technically make that then the case for God, if you want to. So I guess that one's to be continued as well. Chinese kids are back at school, but they are wearing social distancing hats. I don't know exactly quite what it means, but I guess it's to keep people in line, and they know that they keep away from. They have masks on, but they're in class and they're doing stuff, but they have social distancing hats. I think that's kind of interesting. Um, Woman films her a rescue dog that she just got sleeping in bed with her toddler. It was really cute. The dog was curled up next to the toddler and had a blanket over it and was lying on the pillow sleeping. So that was kind of good. Police bust man for taking his fish for a walk during a state of emergency. Taking your fish for a walk just doesn't sound right, I guess. Last week I talked about the hole in the ozone layer. It above the North Pole. It has now closed due to the Arctic. What do you call this? The Arctic blast things. The Arctic thing that comes during the winter hits us. Arctic. Shit, I can't read my writing. So, but by a big Arctic storm has closed it up. Colorado man wins two $1 million lotteries in the same day. So he goes to the lottery. He, I guess, does one of the little scratch and win things, wins $1 million. He does another, hey, why not? Let's do another one. See if I get that lucky. And he wins $1 million in that one also. So he won $2 million in one day with two separate lottery tickets. NASA, this is going back to NASA showing alien, or not NASA, but the U.S. Navy showing UFOs and then those alien stories I just talked about a few minutes ago. But NASA cut the ISS feed, the International Space Station feed, when they noticed a couple of bizarre spacecrafts floating outside of the International Space Station this week. They did it twice. There was another version earlier on with ones that were moving. So NASA's still self-censoring the ISS footage. So there's something going on out there, but it's kind of odd that they cut the broadcast once something like that's seen and get back to like, oh, well, sorry about that. It was maintenance or whatever. Elon Musk has satellites that you can now see in the night sky. People were going out in their house earlier this week and noticed a row of stars all in a row, about 5 of them all in a row. And they're like, what the hell is that? Discovered that it's a low-flying satellites that you can see from Earth, and they're going to be up there periodically. It's supposed to help build up a way to make it easier to do cell phone stuff instead of cell phone towers. You'll be able to, go into use satellites to make it easier. It'll have less disruption and stuff like that. They're just testing things out now, but they need to keep it low so that it can, your phones can reach it, something like that, not up out into space. So you might see that periodically. So if you see a bunch of stars lined up in a row, it's not UFOs, it's Elon Musk's satellites. Harrison Ford got into trouble this week. He's under investigation for an aviation incident by the FAA. Apparently, he flew his personal plane one way across a runway when a plane was coming down. So luckily, they were far enough away from each other, but it still could have been catastrophic if it was any closer. So this isn't the first time Harrison Ford's gotten in trouble for doing that. Probably won't be the last time. A little history for you. In 1945, near the twilight of the Second World War, Germany was still fighting the war with their submarines underwater. Well, one submarine sank because its commander could not flush the toilet. Let me explain. The toilets on these German submarines were highly complex to make sure that the sewage, stuff like that, did not interfere with the clean water in the sub and affect other people. It was a whole way of doing things into ejecting it out into the water. But it had to go through a specific thing. But most subs, as they say in history, most subs had a toilet specialist who you were supposed to call when you were done doing your duty to flush the toilet because they knew how to do it. The commander said, I don't need that. And he tried to flush the toilet, but he couldn't. So he got it stuck. So he eventually found the guy to do it. Now, because this commander did what he wasn't supposed to do, the toilet specialist had to work some magic, but he made one crucial mistake and ended up wrecking a hole into the submarine. Sewage and water started spilling in. So the sub was going to sink underwater. So they had to surface. They surfaced near an island that was allied, that had the Allies on it, and they were shooting at it because they thought, oh, it's going to attack us. Killed, I think they said, 3 people. Well, killed 1 person, and then 2 other people drowned as they were trying to escape the sinking sub because there was still a hole in it and it was sinking, but they were able to get off, and then the Allies grabbed them and they became prisoners of war. Now, they were released shortly afterward because the war ended later that year. So I guess it all works out in the end. This episode is going to be a little bit longer than last week, so let's get moving on that. Animal Crossing, which is the biggest deal out there during this quarantine, which is a game from Nintendo Switch. Bought it for my wife for Mother's Day. She has a Switch Lite, and I think it's it'll be something fun for her to do after she does her Pokemon stuff. She might be interested in it. So, and even if she isn't, once we get through this, maybe I'll play it because I'm interested in it. But I'm doing it for her. But Animal Crossing cosplay is actually a thing. Why not? You have cosplay for everything else. Black hole devours the outside of a star but leaves the core, which is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But it is true, and it is insane. A lizard not native to Rhode Island has been discovered there. So they're making their way to new locations, or someone got it as a pet and said, I don't want it, and released it. And that could be very dangerous for the ecosystem. So that's to be continued. Last summer, I mentioned this, and they were such a success that they are coming back. Coffin floats are back. They are floats you can get and you put into your pool or the ocean, whatever, which is a coffin, and you actually literally get in a coffin and you close the lid and you float in the water in a coffin. Okay. A mile-long asteroid that went past the Earth this week, close, but not close enough, about 2.5 million miles away from it, from the Earth. Looked like when they took pictures of it up close, looked like it had a face mask on it. The way when they looked at the front of the asteroid, it had the smooth part of the rock at the front of it, and then other lines in the back to make it look like it was wearing a mask. It's a really neat picture, and we've seen similar stuff before. There was a asteroid that was going to come close to the Earth. I think it was last Halloween, that had a demonic skull face on it. So it's a weird sort of interesting thing that happens, but kind of cool. A cleaner thought he was doing a good job. He was cleaning a library, with all, making it thoroughly, cleaning the shelves and the books and everything like that. So he had to take the books off the shelves and clean like that to make sure he did a thorough cleaning job. But unfortunately, he was trying to be a good guy, but unfortunately, he does not know how libraries work with the Dewey Decimal System. So he put the books back on the shelf in size order. So the big ones here, medium, small, down like that. It was a nice thought, but it screwed up the library's Dewey Decimal System. So someone's gonna have to go in there and it's just crazy. Hundreds of dead birds mysteriously fell on a cruise ship. So I don't know if that had anything to do with anything, but it's just a kind of a weird, mysterious story that sort of happened. Frosted Animal Cracker Blizzard from DQ will be coming out this summer. Frosted Animal Crackers into the future pops have been revealed, and new Harry Potter Lego sets have been revealed for your pleasure if you like to collect their pops or you like to do some new Harry Potter Lego sets. As I said, it's the Battle of Hogwarts Day today, so why not go? I don't think they're available yet, but heavy quarter with lots of movies. But if this whole thing is still going on, they're going to have to determine how they're going to do stuff, and a lot of films that were going to compete for the Academy Awards might not be able to make it into this year's Academy Awards. So the Academy has this year only has sort of soothed out their rules and said any movie that now has debuted on a streaming service as well as in movie theaters, I mean, it can be either streaming service or in movie theaters or both, is now eligible for Academy Award nominations, which means that Chris Hemsworth can be nominated for Best Actor for Extraction if he wants to be, that type of thing. So there's some plus or minus on that, but as I said, we still got at least, in this second quarter of the year that we're in now is going to end in the August range. We're going to get some summer movies coming out late July and in August, and then we'll have a whole ton of stuff in the last quarter of the fall. They have a ton of movies coming out then, and they might be able to get some of these Academy Award movies in, or a lot of the ones that were being looked at as being potential Academy Award things were going to debut on Netflix anyway, because Netflix has been doing that where they put it in like 2 theaters, but then they also put it on Netflix like a week or so later. So it can get some Oscar but now you don't have to do that. You can just drop it on there and it'll get nominated for that. So there's still going to be, I think, a good Academy Award this year, but it's going to be different and unusual. And it also depends on how this whole thing goes down, how Universal reacts to what AMC and Regal are doing and what the COVID-19 is going to do about the opening of the movie theater. So we'll see what happens. So, but that's good that the Academy is relaxing those rules a little bit. The Cornbread Mafia debuts a conspiracy theory about why Long John Silver's has been around forever. It has something to do with weed and meth and cocaine, but it just seems kind of a weird hill to die on why little Long John Silver's seafood restaurants have been around for so long. So interesting. ABC News reporter appears on Good Morning America. The reporters have been doing stuff from their home, stuff like that, without pants on. Now, he had a suit, he had a shirt and a tie on, and he looked like I am now. Like, you don't know that if I have pants on or not. I might be completely naked under here. I'm not. See, I got my shorts on. But, they've been doing stuff from home. Well, this reporter did not have pants on, but when he was moving around and the camera caught him a few times, you could see that his shirt tails ended and there was nothing underneath but his legs. So he did not have pants on. Because we have to get one-upped by foreign reporters, a Spanish news reporter was doing an interview, sort of similar like this, a live interview from his bedroom when a half-naked woman comes in the background and is doing whatever. So good for him. He got lucky and then had to do a job, and she is just finished taking her shower and doesn't care that she's on video completely semi-naked. Also, a dog helps a weatherman do the TV weather. Last week it was a cat. This week it's a dog that helped the weatherman do stuff from home. So everyone likes that as well. Todd McFarlane's trying to get his R-rated Spawn live action film off the ground, so he's working on that. But he's also said, I want to create a Sam and Twitch TV show, which are 2 characters, police officers that are in the Spawn universe, to sort of connect to the Spawn movie. So he's trying to build a Sam and Twitch TV show, which could be interesting, I guess. It's a police procedural, but it's a little different with being in the Spawn world. So if he can do it, it depends. Another day, another stupid challenge. This time it's a TikTok challenge. Our teenagers and young 20-year-olds are now peeing their pants as a TikTok challenge. So you can go and check out, TikTok and check out, people peeing on themselves, and you'll be like, that's kind of interesting. 6 monkeys were given a COVID-19 potential vaccine, and they did not get sick when COVID-19 was introduced to them. So that's a pretty good test. So maybe we're closer to a vaccine than we think. Jade Stone describing alien contact was found in a Mexican cave. So that's pretty cool. That they were discovered. Again, as I said, all these UFO things are all coming out now this week and alien stuff. So maybe we're getting set up for something. Who knows? Bigfoot bedding set. If you like Bigfoot, there's a bedding set now with a comforter and pillow covers and pillowcases, I should say, and sheets, stuff like that, that have your buddy Bigfoot on it. So if you're a big fan of Bigfoot, go for it. New Goosebumps TV show is coming. The Goosebumps movie did really, really well. The sequel, not so much, but Goosebumps is still a known commodity. And there was, I believe, a TV show at one time. So why not bring it back? Half-hour kids horror show. Why not? I've never been a big Mike's Hard Lemonade fan, but I might have to try this new flavor. The pineapple mandarin lemonade is out there from Mike's Hard Lemonade. I might have to give that one a try this summer and see what it tastes like. It sounds interesting to me. Alaskan School Board has banned books. I haven't heard a banned bookstore in a while. They banned The Great Gatsby due to sexual innuendos and performances, stuff like that. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings due to white anti-white an anti-white message. And The Invisible Man for language. Where the Wild Things Are, a kids thing for sexual innuendos. What the hell are you talking about? And Catch-22 for violence. So, you forget sometimes that Alaska still has that sort of prude quality. They are a Republican-controlled state, and now they're banning books again. Not a big fan of banning books. So, oh well. And now the final story is, as I said, Black Widow was supposed to come out on Friday, this past Friday, but now it won't be out till November. But the MCU is still chugging along. They now have the rights to Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Well, word got out this week that they might be looking at the next big MCU event might be Ultimatum, which was in the Ultimates comic line, which was a different comics line from the Marvel Comics world. And this one was a X-Men Fantastic Four centric one, with Doctor Doom sending a tidal wave through New York City, killing millions of people, including a number of superheroes, and then a whole battle that happens because of that, and more superheroes get killed in the battle after that. Now, I don't know if they'll be doing killing superheroes, but a natural disaster of that size done by a mutant villain could be an easy way to introduce the mutants and Fantastic Four. Or it could be building, as I said, like the first part of the MCU was building to the Infinity War. This might, the introduction of the Fantastic Four and mutants and the characters that are getting their movies now, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, the Eternals, Black Widow, Blade, all these characters might be leading to, and then the introduction of the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into the MCU could be leading to this Ultimatum thing, like the original MCU stories led to Infinity War. So to be continued, maybe they'll kill some people after you've introduced them and stuff like that. But again, if something like this is going to happen, I don't think they're going to drop it right on you right away. I think you're not going to probably see this for at most 5 to 7 years, probably, because they've got to figure out how to get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in there. They got to get a couple movies under their belt so you get to know these characters, and then you can throw all this on them. So we'll see. Secret Wars is still being talked about also, and the Russo brothers said they'd come back for that. So at this point, we don't know what's going on. Marvel said they've already got the next 10 years planned out, so this could be a sort of a combination Ultimatum, Secret Wars sort of thing. We'll see. And then the introduction of the Skrulls on Earth and the TV shows, who knows? But MCU is still chugging along right now, and I am done chugging along. So I am done here for episode 347, Murder Hornets. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is the first weekend of May. Next weekend is Mother's Day weekend. Don't forget that. So get your mother, your wife who's the mother of your children, get them some nice Mother's Day stuff so they don't get angry at you. I have experience with this, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I've already got my presents set. I said I get them from Amazon. They're all going to be coming this week, hopefully. As I said, I got Animal Crossing, but that's the only one that doesn't have a direct date about when it's coming, so I'm getting a little nervous about that. Worst case scenario, they have it at Target. So, Animal Crossing was delivered today. Maybe it's in the mailbox. So I'll have to check the mailbox tomorrow. So hey, that's pretty good. I'll have that. So it was USPS. So it'll be in the mailbox. I'll get that in the mailbox tomorrow, unless my wife went to the mailbox when she left earlier. Anyway, doesn't matter. Next weekend's Mother's Day. Don't forget that. And then we should have word about if Maryland schools are going to go back or not. So we'll know about that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you when we see you. And hey, welcome to May. It is May. It's going to get warmer. Summer's coming, hopefully. So we'll good times.